Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl, Like Drinks Queen. A beautiful morning and a happy new month to you all. Where are my whiskey lovers? Because this episode is for you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and importantly, subscribe to my channel to keep getting beautiful videos from me. Do you know the difference between blended whiskey and single malt whiskey? If not, do not worry about it. You are not alone. Most people do not really understand the difference, but it's a very important distinction when talking about whiskey. Whether you're a professional or you're just getting started, knowing the difference between a blended whiskey and a single malt whiskey is very, very essential. So guys, let's dive in as we take a closer view of what makes these two types of whiskeys different from each other. What is a blended whiskey? A blended whiskey is a type of whiskey made by skillfully combining two or more different types of whiskeys. The most common blended whiskey is the blended Scotch whiskey, which combines malt whiskey and grain whiskey. An example of this type of blended Scotch whiskey is the Monkey Shoulder, the Johnnie Walker, John Bannerman's. We also have the Irish whiskey. An example of the Irish whiskey is Jameson. And lastly, bourbon whiskey. An example of this bourbon whiskey is Wild Turkey. Now let's move on to single malt whiskey. What is a single malt whiskey? The single in single malt simply means that the whiskey is the product of a single distillery. It doesn't refer to the barrel or the batch. Now, the word malt in a single malt whiskey refers to the grain used in making a single malt whiskey. And these grains could either be barley, wheat, or rye. A type of a single malt whiskey is a single malt Scotch whiskey. A single malt Scotch whiskey must be made exclusively from malted barley, although the addition of E150A caramel coloring is allowed. It must be distilled using pot stills at a single distillery and must be aged for at least 3 years in oak cask. And while that is the minimum maturing period, it is often aged for much longer to create those distinctive flavors it is famous for. Examples of single malt Scotch whiskies include Glenmorangie, Glenfiddich, Macallan, Singleton, and so on and so forth. In terms of pricing, the price of a particular bottle of whiskey tends to be determined by two main factors. One, the cost of production and its demand. In terms of production, it makes sense that the longer a whiskey takes to mature, the more expensive it will be. Single malt whiskies is considered more desirable to collectors and connoisseurs than blended whiskies, and that is why the demand is also higher and the price goes up. It only makes sense that a single malt whiskey is more expensive than blended whiskies. In terms of taste, single malt whiskey is often described as oaky and woody, with smoky and peaty notes or sweet, spicy flavors depending on how it is made. Single malts tend to have a more uniform taste due to its single source, while blended whiskey tastes sweet with flavors of vanilla, cherry, candied fruit, or chocolate. They can also taste smoky or ashy, with hints of leather and dried fruit. They are generally more mild, often complex and approachable than single malts. When it comes to how they are taken or how people tend to drink single malt and blended whiskey. For single malt, because of its price tag and prestige, it's often consumed straight up, served on the rocks, or saved for a special highbrow cocktail. Blended whiskeys are a popular choice for mixing in cocktails. While many whiskey drinkers prefer to sip on blended whiskey with nothing more than ice cubes, others prefer to mix their spirit into a delicious cocktail. Example like the Manhattan, Rusty Nail, Old Fashioned, and a lot more. As this episode comes to an end, hope the informations were insightful. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for the notifications to get new videos. And The next episode coming in will give distinctive explanations on these whiskies. Thank you for watching.